Hey everyone, it's Amanda. Happy 2022. I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about lessons that I learned from climbing and how I'm using them to navigate climbing in 2022 and onwards. These mainly circle around like mindset and self-awareness and perspective in climbing, and it's something that I want to focus on this year. I think my strength is in progress and coming along, but my mental muscles need like a little bit of strengthening. Just wanted to share these to help anyone else who has a similar experience with me and just talk through how I'm going to use it to help me with climbing this year in 2022. Lesson 1 is be honest with yourself, and this is circling around the idea of like leaning into the fear. I personally learned that climbing really forces you to be honest with yourself and be unapologetically you. So you tend to learn a lot of things about yourself when you are climbing. You learn about how scared you get when you're going for a move, or you learn about how persistent you are when you are at the top of a climb that you'd been projecting for ages. Projecting. You can't hold anything in when you're climbing. You gotta really give it your all, and that's something that I learned this year in terms of like I can't hold any emotions. I really have to just like let it go and just commit to it. From that, I've become a lot more self-aware this year. I've got like a lot of fears that I carry with me, like fear of falling, fear of injury, fear of failure. I've got a lot of imposter syndrome in terms of if I consider myself a climber at all. By being aware of, my fear and my emotions, I'm able to navigate how I use them and make it work for me rather than just simply reacting to it. 2021 was really leading into the fear and pushing myself in that direction. We went to Arapalis to do a trad climbing trip, and I hadn't really done that much trad climbing before. On a very easy route with one exposed step over, I couldn't do it, and I had like a full-blown panic attack and like a good cry. I don't think I had ever pushed my limits that far before. By crying or having a super strong emotion when you're climbing is a totally okay thing to have. I think it really shows a lot of growth. It shows a lot of like pushing your limits within reason, of course. And a lot of the times when you are scared, it's because your mind has kind of told you that this is something very dangerous, right? The first time you're presented to a scary situation, you're just like totally overwhelmed by all the crazy different things that can happen, logical or illogical. And whenever they popped up next time, I know how to react to them, whether it's like breathing methods or kind of logic or acknowledging the fact that you are scared and you will be scared. The second lesson is you are stronger than you think, and this has 2 parts to it. The first part is to not underestimate how strong your mindset can be when you really set yourself to it. And the second part is that sometimes you're just not trying hard enough, and it's like the total flip of what I just said. But sometimes I have like big commitment issues where I just completely freak myself out. It may be like an exposed or a committing move, and I just like either half-ass the move or I just bail completely. Something that I'm starting to do now is like calling myself out when I'm not trying hard enough, and I think that's a really good wake-up call for when you are just reacting to being scared and not actually working with the fear, or like not being aware of how you're feeling in the moment. So the last time I was in the bouldering gym, I worked on this climb that I thought I could flash, but I actually fell off during this big throw. And when I fell off it, I was thinking the next time I go, I'm going to commit to that throw. Like I was drilling this thought in my head as I was walking up to the climb. And during the climb, I was like, you're gonna throw, you have to throw, you put 110% behind this throw. And I threw it and I caught it, and it was a bit of an overkill, but I got the hold, and it was the thing that just let me flash at the second attempt. That really just showed me how much power my brain has in terms of helping me physically climb. Another thing to add is to be very aware of how you talk to yourself. I took this little nugget of learning from Davey's mindset video that I'll link down below, and she shares a really good point about being aware of how you talk to yourself, especially using negative words. So something like, I can't do that, or I'm too far away, or I'm too short, it's too scary. With those thoughts, it's very easy to just kind of fall into that negative mindset, and it really hinders your climbing and your progression. At the moment, I am reacquainting myself with lead climbing. I haven't done it in so long that I'm super scared of climbing above the bolt again. We're just breaking the climb in 5 parts, or however when I want to stop and rest on the bolt, and then just playing with practice falls and exposure by just chipping away at the fear and trying again, taking a break, coming back, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do that a lot this year and just be a lot more comfortable with like lead and trying hard and committing and all that kind of stuff. The next thing I want to highlight is slowing down. It's not a race, and for me, I need to constantly remind myself to take breaks. I have a tendency to get very frustrated, especially when bouldering, and you've probably seen a couple of the bouldering videos where I'll just kind of like jump back on without thinking, and it's just a very heated reaction. Or I'll get super overwhelmed and kind of do that negative self-talk thing and just psych myself out and just bail out of the climb altogether. And I think I have to just really give myself a moment to just like take the pressure off and create like a line of separation, like take a break, reread the climb, look at all the different details, the techniques, the movement you're doing, you know, rethink your strategy. I think a lot of the times not letting myself rest also comes from like the pressure I set for myself. I have all these expectations where I'm gonna like get XYZ grade or like get this climb and how many goes. Those expectations are just unrealistic and are not good for my mental health. What I did recently was kind of look at the reason why I'm climbing and look at what I want to get out of climbing, because I think originally I'd kind of just realized that this was a sport that I actually really enjoyed and would consistently come back for, and I just rolled with it. But now I'm looking at what I want to get from climbing, and yes, exercise, yes, meeting people, but also I just really want to have more time with climbing as much as my body will allow it. I don't think I'm necessarily a competition climber. I don't think I'm necessarily going to be an elite Olympian athlete. Reducing that pressure has really allowed me to just see myself in a new perspective and really come back to climbing with a lot of fun and excitement and joy. Comparison is another thing I want to talk about. I think it's very easy to slip into this. It's very easy to compare ourselves with people we climb with, if they're progressing faster than we are, if they've sent some climb that you can't even pull on. I think it's a very unhelpful way of thinking, and to reframe this for myself, it's not about us versus each other, it's actually us against the wall. The wall is the problem, the wall is what we're solving. And a really good example of this was when the Olympics was happening. I couldn't figure out who I wanted to win because all these climbers are like so skilled and so different and unique in their own way, and realizing that they're all amazing elite athletes really gave me perspective in terms of there's room for all of us. There's room for all of us to be amazing climbers and to send climbs together and do send trains and just be really supportive of each other. Last but not least, the biggest lesson I learned was to embrace your inner gumby, and this is all about having a beginner's mindset, because I really do believe that learning is like a never-ending process that you do for the rest of your life. It doesn't just stop at school. I think embracing the gumbiness, embracing doing all the mistakes and like learning from other people, learning how to do techniques or new skills or learning a new discipline like ice climbing perhaps, I don't know, really allows you to step outside of your comfort zone, and getting out of that comfort zone is what is really going to help you grow, not only as a climber but as a human being. For me, it was about doing like my anti-styles and getting uncomfortable and working on climbs that I really don't necessarily gravitate to or jump on straight away, but also in terms of technique, just being very aware of like micro movements. I think I need to make more of a connection between what my brain wants my body to do, and I think coordinative moves and being more dynamic will help that, even though that is terrifying to say. So that's everything that I had written down to share with you guys. Hopefully it was a helpful video. Super psyched to see what this year brings. I'm coming into this year very optimistic, and hopefully it'll be a much better year than the past two. Hopefully you guys are climbing, you guys staying healthy and safe, and I'll see you in the next vid. Thanks for watching. Bye.